Hi all, welcome to my channel Social Science for Grade 10. Today we are going to discuss a new chapter from civics, that is power sharing. I have divided this chapter into two parts. Today we will be dealing with Belgium and Sri Lanka and majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. Belgium and Sri Lanka. So Belgium is a small country in Europe, smaller in area than the state of Haryana. So in area, it is smaller than Haryana. It has borders with Netherlands, France and Germany. If you see the map, you can easily understand. It has a population of a little over 1 crore, about half the population of Haryana. Now, ethnic composition in Belgium we are going to see. So in Belgium, 15% is Flemish region and the 15% speak Dutch and 40% are Wallonia region and they speak French. In the Brussels is the capital of Belgium. So in Brussels, the situation is reversed. Majority is French, 80%, and Dutch is minority, 20%. So in Brussels, French is in majority and in Belgium, French is in minority. Now, the minority French-speaking community was relatively rich and powerful than Dutch people. So the minority French people were rich and powerful. This was resented by the Dutch-speaking community who got the benefit of economic development and education much later. So these problems led tensions between Dutch-speaking and French-speaking communities during 1950s and 1960s. Now let us compare the situation to another country. We are going to see now about Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is an island nation just few kilometers of the southern coast of Tamil Nadu. So it has 2 crore population, about the same as in Haryana. So Sri Lanka has a diverse population. So major social groups in Sri Lanka. 74% were Sinhala speaking and 18% were Tamil speaking. So now we saw about two major social groups, that is Tamil speaking and Sinhala speaking. Now in Tamil speaking itself there are two divisions. 13% were native Tamils and rest of them were plantation workers who came from India to Sri Lanka for plantation work. Now Sinhala people mostly were Buddhist people and Tamil people were Hindus and Muslims. So remaining 7% was Sinhala or Tamil speaking people. Now majoritarianism in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka emerged as an independent country in 1948. We all know after the independence of India, Sri Lanka got independence. The leaders of the Sinhala community sought to secure dominance over government by virtue of their majority. As a result, the democratically elected government adopted a series of majoritarian measures to establish Sinhala supremacy. So after the independence, Sinhala people were in majority and the elected government gave all the benefits to Sinhala people, disregarding Tamil people. This was known as majoritarianism. In 1956, an act was passed to recognize Sinhala as the only official language, thus disregarding Tamil. So the government is supporting to the majority population Sinhala people, and for Sinhala people, they recognize Sinhala as the only official language of Sri Lanka, disregarding Tamil. The governments followed preferential policies that favored Sinhala applicants for university positions and government jobs. So Tamil people did not get any university positions and government jobs. Only Sinhala people got all the university positions and government jobs. The new constitution protected Buddhist religion only, not Hindus and Muslims. All these government measures, coming one after the other, gradually increased the feeling of alienation among the Sri Lankan Tamils. So alienation means feeling isolated. Now, they felt that none of the major political parties led by the Buddhist Sinhala leaders were sensitive to the language and culture. They felt that constitution and government policies denied them equal political rights, discriminated against them in getting jobs and other opportunities, and ignored their interests. So the government, what? They denied the equal political rights, discriminated them in getting jobs, and ignored the interests of Tamil speaking people. As a result, the relation between Sinhala and Tamil communities strained over time. Now, the Sri Lanka Tamils launched parties and struggles for the recognition of a Tamil as an official language. So many movements were led by Tamil people for what? Recognition of Tamil as the official language, and for also regional autonomy and equality of opportunity in securing education and jobs. But their demand for more autonomy to provinces populated by the Tamils was repeatedly denied. But their demand, Tamil people demand, was not accepted by the government. Okay. Now, by 1980s, several political organizations were formed demanding an independent Tamil Eelam. So, very important one mark question. What is Tamil Eelam? Tamil state. Okay, you're not giving us any power. At least give some part of the portion of Sri Lanka to us. So, they demanded what? A Tamil state in northern and eastern parts of Sri Lanka. That also was not fulfilled by the government. So the distrust between the two communities, Sinhala and Tamil speaking communities, turned into a widespread conflict. It soon turned into a civil war. As a result of civil war, thousands of both the communities have been killed. Many families were forced to leave the country as refugees, and many more lost their livelihoods. Sri Lanka's excellent record of economic development, education, and health. But the civil war has caused a terrible setback to the social, cultural, and economic life of the country. So, what they are saying the paragraph means, before the civil war, Sri Lanka had an excellent record of economic development, education, and health. But after the civil war, all this record was broken. It had a terrible setback to the social, cultural, and economic life of the country. Now, that's it. So we have completed the two topics. So thank you all. Like, share, and subscribe. And I will be meeting you in the part 2 of the chapter. Till then, bye bye.